All right, everyone, welcome back to another edition of American Soccer Break. I have Rahi, I have Roy, and we had a great week of soccer.
Great week of soccer. Summer's around the corner, it feels like. We got a Women's World Cup. We got a Gold Cup. We got a Nations League.
Oh,
it's all happening soon.
What an exciting time, guys. I am freaking pumped right now. Unbelievable.
So let's start off with let's start off with the women. We'll kick it off with them. They had two games, which were both friendlies. Now, friendlies have a good side and friendlies have a bad side. So let's talk about what we kind of are taking away from these games.
I want to talk about the friendlies, but I'm just devastated. Mallory Swanson, who has been our best player for the past few months to start the year, she got injured in the first friendly against Ireland. She's very likely to miss the World Cup, which is just devastating. She's been fantastic to start the year. She's been on another level. She's been motivated, and it's sad and it's unlucky. And part of me feels like this was a little preventable. I mean, you can never blame a player for their own injury, and you can't really blame a coach. But honestly, 10 minutes earlier, she was injured prior. She was in a collision with the goalkeeper. She got up. She looked a bit woozy. I know that she wanted to get back in. I know that this is important for these players to continue to play, but I wish someone had a little more foresight. We had a friendly 4 days later. Pull her from the game. Let her come back in. I know these things aren't always preventable. Part of me felt like this was slightly preventable because this is the one thing you want to avoid. This is the one thing that cannot happen in a friendly, and I'm just devastated. And maybe I'm looking for blame where there isn't blame, but it's sad.
You're being too nice, Rocky. I think when a player is down for the amount of time that Mallory was down, you keep him out of the game. You see how she recovers in the following 2-3 days, and you see if she should be available for the second game, which was 4 days later. Like, holy crap, there is no need to rush this player back. That was insane. This is the equivalent for people who don't follow the women's national team. I wouldn't even say it's equivalent, but it's kind of like losing Pulisic a couple months before the Qatar World Cup, but slightly larger scale because Pulisic isn't killing it like Swanson's killing it.
Yeah,
so
she's been
an elevated Pulisic, right?
Yeah.
It would be Pulisic versus Real Madrid a couple years ago, losing that Pulisic before a World Cup. And that's what we just saw. And I blame the coach 100%. This player was clearly hurt. If she has to be down for that long, she's hurt. She's tough. She's brave. She is all passion. She wants to get back in the field to help her team. But damn it, that's the coach's job to remind her, hey, this is a friendly. We got the biggest tournament of our lives coming up in a couple months. Take a seat. Take a seat. Relax.
Especially because she's the X factor for me because Alex Morgan is Alex Morgan. And she's going to put away the chances. She hasn't been as prolific to start the year. She's going to put away the chances when they come in the biggest moments. But someone needs to create. And the problem is Mallory Swanson is that X factor. And the World Cup for the U.S. women is going to come down, in my opinion, to 1 or 2 games, right? To a game against Sweden, maybe. To a game against England, maybe. To a game against France, maybe. To these elite teams. And in these big moments, these are the players that make a difference. And these are those, you need these players for those moments. Thankfully, we have one other X factor who looks fantastic. Sophia Smith looks like she's back, like she's healthy. She looks fantastic. So that's our saving grace. But man, you got to feel for her too. Like she just started off the year in such a tear.
Oh,
it's devastating, man.
A huge loss because to your point, I would filter it down further. It doesn't come down to games. It comes down to individual brilliance. And that is the difference in a massive game at this World Cup. If you remove the one player who is most capable of individual brilliance, you remove that moment, that 90th minute shot from outside the 18, that beautiful through ball in the 92nd, you remove that possibility almost entirely because this is your person. And yeah, you mentioned Alex Morgan. Perhaps she could pull something like that, but I don't see her as a 93-minute player every 4 games anymore. So it's going to be tough now. It's going to be
and
really
she needs
tough.
someone to create for her, Alex Morgan. That's what Mallory Swanson does. That's what Sophia Smith does. It looks like it'd be bigger role for Trinity Rodman, I think, is the natural sort of person to come in and start. So you have both those two wings, Sophia Smith, Trinity Rodman, who's looked good. So
yeah,
I mean, hopefully we have the replacement ready, but yeah, it's tough.
So I think now at this point in time, it's just the coach is going to have to pick the team, and we'll obviously talk about that when that actually happens. But for the women, see you at the World Cup, and it's very tough for Mallory Swanson to watch this from the sidelines. But yeah, switching over to the men, who also have a friendly coming up. So let us talk about that. The U.S. men's national team roster. Just display it for everyone. It just just came out the other day.
Do we have to show it? Okay.
There it is.
We have to show it? Okay.
I think that was ever going to happen. Jeez Louise.
I think we kind of do, right?
You could go, Roy, because I'm scared about this roster, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's, oh, geez. Okay. Let me try to start with the positive. I am excited for a hungry Brandon Vazquez. Like I mentioned in the last podcast, Bundesliga teams are looking at him. They actually sent scouts. Who was it? Was it Mönchengladbach that sent their scout to watch him, and he scores super late in that game, and his celebration was so freaking pumped up. It was amazing. So if we get that passionate, that hungry Brandon Vazquez, he could work his way into this senior national team lineup moving forward. The other one I'm excited about is glad they called up Cade Cowell, regardless of how his season is going. I think his season isn't going well because San Jose doesn't play through him. That is the problem. So that's going to be badass. This kid is fast. This kid's a killer on the wing. He's super composed in the final third. He puts in a dangerous ball, and he has a nose for goal. So that should be exciting. The last couple ones I'm really pumped about. Aiden Morris has looked phenomenal. For those that don't know him, he is a Columbus Crew center midfielder, had two very unfortunate, year-long injuries that kept him out. But before those injuries, he looked like a killer. This kid looked like a killer.
I'm scared, man. This is, why? Because this is nothing against the players on this roster, but looking at the rosters we've seen in the past few windows, there really is a big drop-off. When you get rid of the European players, there's a big drop-off. I mean, look at the defense on this team. I'm worried, and I'm hoping to be proven wrong, but I'm a bit concerned. There's a few areas where I feel like we have some strength down the wing. Cade Cowell, I'm still excited about. But man, this is a reminder of, what the second team looks like and why we're missing some serious depth. There's one other player that you didn't mention, Jordan Morris, who I think for me has been fantastic, arguably the best player in MLS to start the season.
He's been incredible. Outside of Bouanga, he's been the best.
He's been fantastic. And the thing is, here's the real question. He's doing it really, really, really well in MLS.
Yep.
Does that translate to the national team? This is against Mexico. This is no joke. So let's see. And the opposite for Cade Cowell, he's not doing it in MLS.
Yep.
But we saw him at the national team level. Can he do it at that level? So there's this interesting comparison between the two of them, which is Jordan Morris, we've seen him since his injury. Not really that impressive on the international stage, but he's really impressive domestically right now.
It's a different Jordan Morris, man. Before the World Cup, keep in mind, he was terrible for the Seattle Sounders. And I wouldn't say he was terrible in the World Cup. He kind of fit the same mold. But now he's on fire, and Seattle's on fire. And every goal, pretty much 90% of goals are coming through him and his dangerous movement. And he looks like he has his speed back, his finishing touch is back. He's hungry. So I hope we get that Jordan Morris in this national team. And I hope we get this Cade Cowell that showed up in the camp in January. If we get both of those, I'm not as worried as you are. I know there's a drop-off, but Mexico also isn't bringing their Euro players. They're bringing their Liga MX guys. And I think our defense is fine.
Yeah, so let's talk about specifically now, just kind of finishing it off with the game itself. Okay, for each of you, what are you looking for from this game?
For me, it's the wing play, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the wing play. It's Jordan Morris. It's Cade Cowell, and how they interact with our center forward, who is very likely going to be Brandon Vasquez. That's going to be the trio. That's the trifecta. That is going to be the key to success. How those three combine. I think defensively we're okay. It's not an incredible defense, but we've shown as a national team that we've shored up our defense over the past few years. You plug players in, you plug players out. We tend to do okay.
Yeah, but more than that, like, are we okay if we like lose, or we're trying to like win the game? I mean, obviously we're trying to win the game, but like what is it? The result is the result what we're looking for? What are we looking for?
I honestly don't mind if we lose this game, because we have these 3 games. Like, this is the first one. Then we have the Nations League. We're probably going to play them in the Gold Cup. I almost don't mind if maybe a draw. Like I don't mind if we lull them into a false sense of security, and then, I mean, it's a different team, but for me, the result is not that important. It's really not. This is kind of a weird friendly they put on the calendar. But we have to be competitive. We have to have players that show up in big ways. And I think that's Jordan Morris and Cade Cowell for me. But I don't know. I'm not that bothered with the result. Are you?
You're not Mexican. I have a Mexican wife. I will not hear the end of it. Doesn't matter. That's friendly. And that's the case with everyone I play soccer with. This is about bragging rights. This is about always being on top. There's a lot of, it's not hatred between the U.S. and Mexico, but that is a fiery rivalry. That rivalry has always been on fire, and it continues to be. And we're in a good place right now where we haven't lost to Mexico since, when was the last time? Do you remember?
I can't remember. It's been a while, because, you know, all of the last meetings we've pretty much owned them in terms of, you know, wins or draws.
Yeah. We got to keep that up.
Final. Yeah, it's been a while.
We got to keep that up. We can't give up that dominance now.
Look, I think there's a lot of players that will have a chance to shine in this game, and I agree. Like, let's keep the party rolling, you know. So so everyone, the game's on Wednesday. So I think that's what everyone's watching this week. And, you know, as always, go USA. The women got it done. Now it's the men's turn to keep that streak alive against Mexico.
Yeah, and Roy will have a happy household, hopefully.
That's the most important.
Or a half happy household.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. So, all right, everyone. See you guys next week. Enjoy the game.